It had been 3 years since Daniel lost his wife in a tragic car accident. Life hadn't been easy. As a single dad raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, he had learned to juggle 2 jobs, parent-teacher meetings, and the endless responsibilities that came with running a household. Despite the chaos, Daniel always tried to keep their home warm and welcoming. But lately, the bills had started to pile up. His construction job barely covered the essentials, and the mortgage payments were eating him alive. That's when Daniel came up with the idea of renting out the spare room in his house. It wasn't much, just a small bedroom with an old desk, a closet, and a decent view of the backyard, but it could bring in a little extra income. He posted an ad online, not expecting much. Within a few days, he received a message from a young college girl named Emily. Emily was 19, polite, and well-spoken in her emails. She explained that she had just transferred to the local university and needed an affordable place to stay. Something about her words felt genuine, so Daniel agreed to meet her. The day she arrived with her single suitcase, Daniel was surprised. Emily looked much younger than he had imagined. She had big brown eyes, a shy smile, and a kind of nervous energy. She thanked him over and over for giving her the chance to stay. Lily, curious as ever, peeked from behind her dad and quickly warmed up to Emily. Within minutes, they were sitting together on the couch, laughing at cartoons. At first, everything seemed normal. Emily attended her classes, helped around the house without being asked, and often offered to babysit Lily when Daniel worked late. She cooked dinner sometimes, and her spaghetti quickly became Lily's favorite meal. Slowly, the house that once felt too quiet started to fill with laughter again. Daniel couldn't deny it, Emily's presence was like a ray of sunshine. But there were things that didn't quite add up. For one, Emily never received phone calls. She never mentioned her family or friends. She didn't even have social media, which struck Daniel as odd for a girl her age. At night, Daniel sometimes heard muffled sobs coming from her room. When he asked if she was okay, she would force a smile and say she was just stressed about exams. One evening, while folding laundry, Daniel noticed something strange. Emily's work uniform from a local diner was tucked in with Lily's clothes. He hadn't even known she was working a job. When he asked her about it, Emily's face went pale. She hesitated, then admitted she had been working late nights at the diner to cover tuition and books. She begged him not to tell anyone, saying she didn't want pity. Daniel admired her determination, but he still felt like something was wrong. She was clearly hiding more than just a part-time job. Weeks passed. The bond between Emily and Lily grew stronger. Emily would read bedtime stories, help with homework, and braid Lily's hair before school. Lily started calling her Big Sis, and Daniel couldn't help but feel grateful. But the mystery of Emily's secret gnawed at him. Then came the night that changed everything. Daniel was driving home late from work when he saw Emily walking down a dark road, clutching her backpack tightly. She wasn't headed toward their neighborhood but in the opposite direction. Concerned, he pulled over and called out to her. At first, she froze like a deer caught in headlights. Then, reluctantly, she climbed into his truck. "Emily, what's going on?" Daniel asked gently. Tears filled her eyes. She took a deep breath and finally confessed. Her real name wasn't Emily. She had changed it when she enrolled in college. The truth was, she had run away from an abusive foster home. Her parents had abandoned her years ago. And after bouncing through different foster families, she ended up with people who treated her more like a servant than a daughter. When she turned 18, she fled with nothing but the clothes on her back. She worked odd jobs, lied about her past, and saved enough money to enroll in school under a new identity. Daniel sat in silence, stunned. The young woman he thought was just a struggling student was actually a survivor, someone who had endured far more than she let on. "Why didn't you tell me?" Daniel asked softly. "Because I didn't want you to see me as broken," she whispered. "I didn't want Lily to think I was some kind of charity case." Daniel's heart ached. He realized Emily wasn't just looking for a place to stay. She was searching for a family, for belonging. And somehow, without meaning to, she had already become part of theirs. From that night on, things changed. Daniel promised her she didn't have to hide anymore. He contacted a lawyer friend to help Emily with her legal documents and college paperwork. Slowly, Emily began to trust again. She still had nightmares, still carried scars from her past, but now she had a safe home where she wasn't alone. Months later, Lily stood proudly at her school talent show with Emily cheering louder than anyone. Daniel looked at them both, realizing something extraordinary had happened. What started as a simple rental agreement had turned into something far deeper. Emily wasn't just a tenant anymore. She was family. And for Daniel, a single dad who once thought his world had fallen apart, it felt like life had given him, and Emily, a second chance.